Dave. Hey, congratulations on this new movie, Bank of Dave.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. Really, really exciting.
It's very exciting to first of all have a bank and then to have a movie about yourself and the bank. I mean, how does it feel to even watch your life unfold on screen?
Well, it's a very strange thing to have a biopic made about you because normally you're dead, and I'm not. I'm alive. So it was really, really strange. And to see somebody else play me, I mean, Rory Kinnear, he's the guy out of Bond. And I've seen him in Bond lots of times. But when he come to my house, he knocked on my door. And I opened it. He said, Dave, meet Dave. And that was very strange. But he does. He looks more like me than I do.
So so I know you probably told this story, dozens of times. We always ask is how did this project came about? How did this landed to you? Who approached you to say, I want to make your life story?
Well, about 2 and a bit years ago, I got a phone call from Hollywood, like you do when you come from Burnley. That doesn't normally happen. And it was a guy called Piers Ashworth who was out having dinner with the guy that voiced over the original documentary series that I made. And he was talking to this guy and he said, look, I'm looking for a feel-good movie. And he was told about me. And he said, you want to look into Dave? So he looked into my background. He read my books. He watched some of my documentaries. And he thought, yes. And now Piers Ashworth is the guy that wrote Mission Impossible for Tom Cruise, the original script. So he called me and he said, Dave, I want to make a movie about your life. And I said, well, you better get yourself to Burnley then. And he did. And he turned up and we started to discuss it. And that's how it started.
Wow, that is actually amazing. Dave, could you tell us about this city, Burnley? What is the city like? For some of us here in the States, we're not too familiar with England and such.
Burnley, yeah.
Uh,
Well, Burnley's the centre of the universe. So I keep saying to everybody, because somebody has to publicise it, because it's a really tough town to live in. There's only 65,000 people that live there. And it's a very, very difficult place to live, but it's full of a fantastic community. It's run by the community to benefit the community and not the bonus culture. And you can put everybody that lives in Burnley inside the Manchester United football stadium. So that's how small Burnley's community is. But Burnley now have a Premiership football team, which is amazing. Normally you would not have a Premiership football team in a town that size. But it's a tough place to live. It's full of hills and countryside. It's a beautiful place to live. It's where the cotton mills and the factories once stood, and it was a real sort of part of industry. But that all died off, and there were lots and lots of unemployment. So it's a tough place, but I love it dearly, and it's where I'm from.
and your love for this community was basically the primary factor that you wanted to start a bank.
Yeah, I mean, my customers, I sell buses, and my customers were coming to me to buy a bus like they had done for many years. And overnight, the big banks just stopped lending to them. And I thought, have they done something wrong? Have they not paid a bill? Have they got a CCJ? Have they moved house? And do you know what, Gig? They'd done nothing wrong. The banks just decided they wasn't going to lend to businesses anymore. So I thought, well, I believe these people. I know what they're buying. I built it. Why don't I lend them the money? So that's what I did. I started to lend them money. These people paid me back. And I thought, this banking malarkey, it's not that difficult. And then I thought, well, I can help other people and other businesses. So that's what gave me the idea to set off opening the Bank of Dave. I wanted to lend people money who couldn't borrow from the high street bank. I wanted to give the best rate of interest on the high street to people who've worked really hard with their savings. And the profit after the overheads were paid, I give to charity. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what the Bank of Dave is.
That's actually courageous, especially the fact that this all started from the idea that spawned during the Great Recession when there were people trying to get out of banking and you wanted to run into the fire.
Yeah, I mean we're probably going to be the last high street bank standing in my part of the community, my part of this area, because all the big banks are pulling out. They don't actually want to lend money to people anymore. The big banks give you an umbrella when it's sunshining and take it off you when it's raining. And they just do not want to get involved. They don't want to be lending money to businesses anymore. They just want to buy credit default swaps from abroad and make tons of money. And when it goes bad, the governments of these countries bail them out. And when it goes good, they make a fortune. And the problem is with big banks, people who rob banks go to prison, but banks who rob people get paid bonuses. How does that work?
Yeah, that is true. So tell me about your bank today. It's not called Bank of Dave. It's Bank of Burnley, right? The Burnley Savings and Loans.
Well, it's called Burnley Savings and Loans,
Oh,
but on the side of it, it's Bank of Dave. And everybody in the country and indeed now around the world is starting to call it Bank of Dave, which is wonderful. We've now lent out about $60 million to thousands of people and businesses in the community, which is a huge amount of money for a small community, but not necessarily a huge amount of money for the big banks. But it makes such a difference where we live. And the profit, we feed people, we home people, we give food to food banks, we feed children. We do what institutions used to do many years ago, which is look after their own people in their own communities.
Now, of course, this is a local bank, meaning that you make local loans and take local deposits, right?
Yes, we take money from local people and we lend it out to local businesses. And what I would love to see is other people around the UK and indeed all over America. I'd love this out in America, where a community got together and built their own Bank of Gig, Bank of Stephen, Bank of Tracy, Bank of whoever, and they then opened their own community operation, not to make profits, just to give back into the community. And I would love to help anybody out there who's watching this, reading this, listening to this. If they're interested in doing something different, I'll be out in America later in the year, and I would gladly meet up with people who want to make a difference in their community in America.
Now, of course, this movie, you are so inspirational. This movie is so inspirational, but obviously movies are still movies. Could you tell us what's not real in this story? I'm guessing the concert wasn't real.
Well, the concert, I love singing. I'm a terrible singer, but I love singing. So the karaoke is very real. But the concert at the end, that was done for artistic, there's a word for it, isn't there, to become a movie. I mean, in Superman doesn't really fly either, but we can't tell anybody that. The concert was just amazing. But the boys that did the concert, Def Leppard, we give them a call, and they were in America at the time, and we asked them to come over and do this. And they loved the idea. They'd heard of what I was doing, and they came over and they did it. And it was fantastic. And I'm hoping that we can get together with Def Leppard and make this happen for real in Burnley Centre in the future. So it'd be good to get that last bit that wasn't real. Let's make it real. But Def Leppard were amazing. Phoebe Deniver out of Bridgerton's in it. She was the big star of Bridgerton. And then you've got Joel Fry out of the Game of Thrones. You've got Paul Kay out of Game of Thrones. You've got the guy that plays me, which is Rory Kinnear out of Bond. You've got the lady that plays my wife, Nikki, which is Jo Hartley out of Afterlife, Ricky Gervais's big hit. And you've got the wonderful Hugh Bonneville out of Bridgerton. So there's some big stars in it. It's got a lot of heart, and there's a lot of local people. The places they filmed, this is my kitchen I'm doing this interview in, and we filmed in this kitchen. We filmed in my house, we filmed in my garage, we filmed in the Bank of Dave for real, we filmed in Burnley train station and Burnley Market, because it was important that we did it for real in the real places.
Now, of course, the real you made an appearance in the film, right?
Yeah, but we can't tell everybody. So it's just for everybody that's listening and watching. So I make an appearance. Let's see if they can find me. I'll give them a clue. I'm in one of the court scenes. I'm heavily disguised. But yeah, it's the first. I've made lots and lots of documentaries around the world. I've been on television many times, but it's the first movie I've been in, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, that is terrific. Now, of course, I know the film portrays the regulatory commission as the villains of this film, but that's not how it really went down, right? They were probably a little bit receptive despite not being, having an approval over 100 years.
They're just, do you know what? They're just very unhelpful. The regulators are very unhelpful, but the big banks, they dislike me with a passion. They do not see why we need community banks run by the community to benefit the community rather than the bonus culture. They think that they should be in charge, and they've, in real life, tried to buy me out at a huge amount of money. And the Bank of Dave isn't for sale. There isn't a number. There never will be a number, and it will never close, never shut, and it will never be sold.
Did anyone ever approach you about expanding or taking outside investments, or you just want to keep it localized and small?
Well, the Prime Minister's now spoke to me, Rishi Sunak in the UK, and he put me in touch with a guy called Andrew Griffiths, which is the Treasury Secretary, and Joe Gideon, which is the MP in charge of the banking sector. And Mr. Sunak, the PM, he stood up in Prime Minister's questions and said it's towards Dave Fishwick's model we should be moving. And he's put me in touch with his people, and he would like to see it expand. So watch this space. Let's see what happens.
Oh, wow. Not only that Bank of Dave could expand, you're already helping other banks, around the world. How do you handle this newfound fame? I understand you were already famous before, though, with the television shows previously.
Yeah, I mean, I work on live television. I work on production in big productions. I've made 10 different documentaries. I've been incredibly lucky. I've been nominated for 3 BAFTAs. I've won 2. I've got Royal Television Society Awards, 6 broadcast awards, books, magazines, and lots of things. I'm on TikTok. I've got a very big site on TikTok. It's the one of the fastest growing sites out there with 55 million views. So I'm involved in Twitter at Fishwick David, TikTok's at Bank of Dave. So I'm involved in lots and lots of things, but I've got to the point where I have all the things I need, and I love now getting involved in things that make a difference to other people's lives. And like I said, one of my businesses is in America. I have a lot of time for America. I love the place, and I'll be out there later in the year. So it'd be good to meet up with everyone if possible when I get out there.
Most excellent. Well, Dave, let me leave with one last question with you, because all this is about you and your bank, but we have to know, do you still have that minibus business on? Is that a side business, or is that your primary business?
It's one of the businesses I've got. It's still there, and in the movie it shows the head office. It actually shows the real head office. So that minibus business, if somebody rings it after they've watched the movie, they can actually, somebody will pick the phone up and they'll say Dave Fishwick minibuses, and that's real. A lot of the movie's real, and that's what's important. I hope everybody loves watching it. It was wonderful to make it. And really, really exciting to meet so many people that's come from it. So yeah, it's been wonderful.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you, Dave, Bank of Dave over there, and this movie's full of heart, and I could tell that you are full of heart too. So thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, and hopefully we'll meet again soon.
We will see. Thank you very much.
All the best. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.